Okay, good evening. I just want to start my work on individual agency or personal high agency, a topic that's come up in our screenwriting group recently, and it's a topic that has a lot of meaning to me. And this is just a rough start at it tonight. I'll have to come back and refine it. Personal agency has to do with being your own person, setting up your own goals and following through with them that are expressive of who you are without too much reference to belonging to various groups. This is what you do for yourself to propagate yourself as an individual. And that, to open things up, that would mean an emphasis on what? Well, it would mean an emphasis on fundamental rights of the individual, which I think I've talked about before in here, but there are different kinds of rights, like original rights, which were spelled out in the Constitution, and fundamental rights, which are sort of related to original rights, but are presumed to be essential to individuality, and social rights, which require setting up something like public schools, something that requires public support, health care, for example. And then I remember talking about that there's a difference between creativity and professionalism, and self-promotion is at odds with family or a tribe and serving the needs of others. I've been through that before, but I just wanted to go through that again for a moment. I have an outline for how I'm going to talk about personal agency. And it's basically in 4 parts. One is how it applies to everyone in general. And then the other 3 would be how they apply to me in my own self-expression as a young person, how I saw the world. And then my sexuality would be the second part, which would be very dicey. And then the third part would be my freedom of reach, with the internet, basically, and whether I take responsibility for how that affects others when I don't really have my skin in the game with the lives of others. So, but one of the things is that the very idea of personal agency might offend some people because it assumes the world's going to be very competitive. And so a lot of people naturally want to make a lot out of belonging to tribes or belonging to groups, and feeling pride in their group or intersectional, as that identifies who they are, because that relieves them somewhat of having to be too concerned about their own personal success in relation to other people, particularly within the group. And so the idea of talking about high personal agency might be offensive to them. A common term you hear is MGTOW, men going their own way, men who, and for that matter, women who don't start families or stay around their home families or tribes, but go their own way in life. But that's a common term I've heard a lot in other YouTubers. Just as a general rule, you're going to be better at this if you're better at a lot of things, very good at some things, have some unique talent, but are very good at things that people have to do to get along, at fixing things, doing things for yourself, changing your own oil, changing tires for other people, very good at the mundane things. And you may find that things are expected of you that you didn't cause, and when because you do come from a family, you may, even if you don't have your own children, you may be expected to be able to take care of other people's children, or a parent's filial responsibility as they get older. You find the issue of a kind of expected altruism, and then a lot of people have gotten into this idea of critical theory or a kind of reparative identarianism, which I don't have time to get into today, but that's kind of, I see it as kind of a defense because personal agency demands so much. So that's enough for today, but we're going to come back to this.